C10 Talk, episode 167. Interviews from LST 2020. Lone Star Throwdown. Coming at you.
The best part that I've learned about this whole situation, being I'm new to the truck scene, is the people. Here we are here, and they're from Florida to California. Everybody's friendly. Everybody will talk to you. Everybody is very informative. It's just a great time. The truck scene is definitely a great time.
Damn, son. C10 Nation, is your chassis wiring old and brittle? Does your underdash look like a rat's nest? Well, Painless has a chassis harness for you. Painlessperformance.com. That's painlessperformance.com. Whether you're looking to replace your original steering, update those old brakes, or improve your suspension and handling, Classic Performance Products has got your classic truck covered. You can save 10% by using code C10TALK at checkout. 10%. ClassicPerform.com. When it comes to upgrading your truck's gauges, look no further than Dakota Digital and their wide selection of direct fit instrument systems. Hit up dakotadigital.com for more information. If you're looking for aftermarket parts for your C10 truck, Pro Performance is your go-to source. They carry the top brands for wheels, brakes, suspension, and accessories. Check them out on the web at azproperformance.com. That's azproperformance.com.
Let me tell you what Melba Toast is packing right here. I've got 411 posi track out back, 750 double pumper, Edelbrock intakes, scored over 30, 11-1 pop-up pistons, turbojet, 390 horsepower. We're talking some fucking muscle.
What does that do? Does that blow your mind? That just happened.
Welcome to C10 Talk, your C10 truck podcast.
And now I have a chance to be the best, maybe the best in the world.
My old man, he's a television repairman. Got this ultimate set of tools. I can fix it.
I said I got 50 cents in that jukebox, and all I can hear is your mouth flapping. You hear that?
Here's your host, Ronnie Welch.
All right. C10 Nation. LST 2020, we're back. We did it. We made it. Good times. A few little issues, but again, it's all about the journey. And in this case, the destination's pretty rad-ass too. So great time. Thank you, C10 Club Texas, for all the hospitality. LST, Lone Star Throwdown, Lonnie, Radar, and of course, Jared, for all that you do for us, for the C10 community. We were lucky, man. We have a great spot, great weather. I'm kind of calling it C10 Alley. Worked out really good. You've got Switch, AZ Pro, GSI, the United by Trucks guys were kind of put over there, which was super cool to kind of be hanging out with those guys representing the East Coast, or I guess the East Side guys. And AZ Pro was by us, then C10 Talk, C10 Nation, and it was good. It was good times. On the way out, a few little mishaps. Some a little bit bigger. Juan from Soul Prince, he did his best, and his tranny just shit the bed. So he ended up just turning around, got a tow truck, and headed home. Cagoose, my buddy Chad, Goose, Clifford, easy peasy. Looked like he had a non-venting gas cap, so then that kind of messed up the mechanical fuel pump. Big Ted Bowman stepped in, and like a flash, he switched that out, and we were back on the road, and that truck made it all the way 2,300 miles. I did a couple posts to kind of, let people know about these guys that are driving their shit, to and fro. The east side guys, so west of going eastbound, and the east side guys going west. So however you want to look at it, bottom line is there's a handful of dudes who made the trek, and it's just awesome to think that these guys are pounding the pavement in these old school trucks. I kind of look at it like this, soapbox, so stay with me here. One of my favorite quotes of all time is called "The Man in the Arena." You can look it up. I won't bore you. It's actually kind of a long quote by Teddy Roosevelt. But the bottom line is, if you're the man and you're in the arena, then, dude, you're a badass. And it doesn't matter. So people are up in the grandstands, i.e. people who are sitting at home, weekend warrior, keyboard warriors, stuff like that. If you're out there and you're driving and you're pushing your truck and you're trying to make it to wherever it is, 100 miles down the road, 500 miles down the road, 1,000 miles down the road, 2,500 miles round trip, then my hat's off to you, and you're doing it. So don't get caught up in the people who are, saying, well, you broke down this, that, and the other. the bottom line is running your truck 5 miles to, the local trucks and tacos or the cars and coffee is one thing, but putting your car, if you will, through the paces all the way out to something like this, again, you deserve recognition and kudos, dude. I mean, it's awesome. So to all that made the trip and the trek, my hat's off to you. It's awesome. Let's see here. What else do I got? LST, we got 10 interviews, and I just want to thank all the guests that took time to hang out with me and chat about their trucks. It was fun. Honestly, 10 interviews, it's a lot. I usually try to get like 8. I didn't really keep track. I was just running and gunning, but I could have grabbed 100. I mean, there's so many rad trucks. The sky's the limit out there. I mean, you see a little bit of everything. So great show, great awards. Everybody made it home safe and sound, and that's what it's all about. So thanks again, LST, for the hospitality, and to all those that did what you did. You made the trek. We had a good time. Eastbound and Down was a success. I know some other guys came from the west side, and I know it seemed like they kind of had some shitty weather, but again, they did it. They made it, and they can't control some of those things, and the things that they could, they powered through them. So my hat's off to them. All the guys that came, I know Tricky Air, Arnie Talk, Chuck C, the UBT guys, and so many more. So again, great job. Our website is not up and running yet. My wife is doing some administrative cleanup. I think she's changing some things around there. And then we've got to get inventory back on check for everything coming back from LST. For those that came by the booth, said hi, bought something, thank you as well, because the support was tremendous. And it shows. It really does. We appreciate it when you're walking around and you see people wearing C10 Talk, C10 Nation, OBS Talk. It's cool. It's really rad to see the community get behind everything and all the different entities that are out there supporting C10 Alley. So thank you guys. So the website will be up. The new hot shirt that's doing really well is that new one that we created, which is I'd rather be driving my C10 or I'd rather be driving my square body. So if you want one of those, check back here probably this weekend. The website will be up this weekend and grab the size that you need. A few shows coming up. Well, more than a few shows. We got a lot going on. In April, it's super busy. April 24th, 25th, and 26th, that's going to be LS Fest West. That's out in Vegas, and that's a 3-day event. They do have an Instagram page, LS Fest West, and then you can also follow on Holly's Performance Instagram. Out in Indianapolis, Indiana, Saturday the 25th, they've got a little meetup out there, the Indiana boys, C10s at the Silo. That's hosted by Sid's Chop Shop and Scott Shampton. So you can follow either one of those for updates. Sid's Chop Shop and Scott Hampton, April 25th in Indianapolis, Indiana. On Sunday the 26th, up in the Northwest, so Northwest C10s up in Spanaway, Washington, they've got a show up there. That's going to be April 26th, Spanaway, Washington. So you Pacific Northwest guys, that's going to be on April 26th. June 14th, Brothers just announced that they're going to have their 22nd annual Show and Shine Brothers Trucks. Their registration is going to open this Saturday, February 29th. Little leap year action. So on the 29th, which is tomorrow, you can pre-register for the Brothers 22nd annual Show and Shine, and they have announced the date there is going to be June 14th. So in June, Brothers Show and Shine. July, you've got the Southeastern Truck Nationals, their 10th anniversary. They've got a new location, Lebanon. Yeah, I guess it's Lebanon, Tennessee. So if you're out in the Southeast, hit them up. That's going to be C10 Club Tennessee, the C10 Deputy, and they've got a lot of growth out there. He's always telling me that's the biggest show east of the Mississippi. So let's keep that thing cranking. Southeastern Truck Nationals, 10-year anniversary, July 11th. August 8th, you've got the C10s in the capital, back to the Pacific Northwest and up there in Washington. So you can follow those guys' page as well. If you're up there in the Pacific Northwest, C10s on the capital. Boy, we got a lot going on. So I think that's just kind of a throw out there to all the different shows. Myself, my son, we're going to do Hot Rod Power Tour. So we'll be gone on June 6th through, I think it's the 14th. So I'll probably miss the Brothers show. We'll see how it shakes out. But we're taking Orange Slice, my son, and we're heading east. We're going to meet up with Big Fish and the boys, and then get out to Boris's Street Machinery for the big kickoff there and do Hot Rod Power Tour 2020. Can't wait. So many different things going on. It's such a good time to be in the C10 world, a C10 enthusiast, and the C10 Nation. Thank you guys for all the support. Remember, rate and review us. shoot us an email. The voicemail thing is working good. I've got a new one. I'm not going to put it in this show just because we've got so much going on with this show. But if you get a chance and you want to, leave us a voicemail. All you got to do is go on to c10nation.com, and on the right, you just hit the button, boom, and it'll do a voice recording. If I play you on the show, you're going to get a free shirt. All right, guys, thank you for all that you do. Stay out of trouble. Have a great weekend. Late. LST 2020, getting after it. First interview Friday, midday. We're having a good day. And we roll by the ugliest damn C10. Not really. Dig the colors. We've got Andy from Maryland. Ugly C10. Why did you call this thing Ugly C10, bro? It's not that ugly.
I think when I first got it, you can see from the rust on the door panels in the bottom that I never planned on ever fixing. So it just had it came to mind, and when it came to rust, that's what came to me. So ugly it was, and it's stuck. It's perfect.
So let me just paint a picture for the audience. You know, that's the difference between a picture, YouTube, or whatever. When he says rust, I'm from Arizona. He's from Maryland. You know, I am assuming for the audience, you're thinking like completely rusted out. This thing is not that rusty. So unless you know more, than what I could see right here, it doesn't look that bad.
The frame is perfect. But yes, under the body, there's a little bit of holes you can definitely stick your fingers through. There are definitely areas where I feel like if I touch it, I'll be in trouble. So I just leave it alone. And
so you might need a tetanus shot.
Yes, I recently got one.
All right, good. So I'm going to just take a guess here by the color scheme. 82, maybe 84?
85.
85 two-tone, meaning you've got the square headlight, which I like to call slope nose. You've got kind of a, I don't know, it's not really a canary yellow. It's just an off yellow with a nice tan in the middle. You got a cool long bed camper. What was your vision with this?
The camper was a Facebook special. We found it in Virginia, drove down the next day. The guy had no clue what he had, and I said it weighs about 800 pounds, but we knew it would fit perfectly. So,
and you kind of did some interior modeling with the plates. You obviously cut the back up a little bit, put it on the ground. Tell us a little bit more about your suspension and what you did. Did you do the work to that?
Yeah, me and my dad did most of it. We actually we bought a truck in 2004. That was when everybody was completely just overkilling with the customization. So this is actually a frame from our 83 that we had in 2004. My dad did the back, and then once we got it all finished and it wasn't sitting right, we hooked up with the guys with GSI, and they helped us out with the front end, and that made us get the front down and make it sit really even. So yeah, it was a long process. We started in 2004. Start with a whole different body. A few years ago, we bought the yellow version, took the body off, and everything in the back we did ourselves. And it's just.
So you got a front kit from GSI.
Yep.
Now it sits where you want. Now let's talk about this heartbeat. What did you do up front here?
Not a whole lot. There's not a whole lot done. We had the 350 small block from the other truck, and it was pretty solid. So we just threw on a nice serpentine kit. We got the new radiator with fans and no AC, of course. But other than the GSI part, it's pretty stock.
Well, what about these very rare inner fender tubs?
Yeah. So in all of ugliness, but not ugliness, we decided that we needed to have a little bit of protection. So we built a little bit of custom fender, outlined it with some nice. Almost all the states that we went through to get here. We got Texas and Florida and Maryland, and we outlined it with them. The hardest part with that was just getting in a nice round curve, but we threw those in there and give a nice little touch to match the back.
So what are you using to support this inner when you for the audience? If you think about a license plate, it's about 12 inches. He's got one side almost all the way up to the fender, and then he comes in and he curves it down. I'll take a picture. But you obviously got something here supporting that. What'd you do there?
So my dad, he works with a lot of big rigs. So we took the fender off of a big rig truck, cut it up, and molded it in there real good, and then just put some braces in there. And that's just like we started with a black foundation and just riveted the plates on top.
So you've got GSI front. What bags and what air management setup?
We got an AccuAir system.
Bags, you're not sure what bags?
The bags we got we bought them so long ago, I have zero clue.
We're going to say they're Firestones. Yes. So he's got some Firestone 2600s or something. We got Toe Mater going by us right now with Lightning McQueen. So you'll see a little bit of everything here at LST. Yep, there we go. So what do you want to do next to this thing, Andy? Any plans that you want to do besides just drive the shit out of it?
Well, yeah, it's nice to get to a point where, like I said, we started 14, 15 years ago, so it's nice to just get behind it. That's a good question. Right now, I'm out of money, and but I'm leaving the country for 6 months, so I won't be doing anything to it. But after that, we'll see. Maybe a little interior stuff. I don't plan on ever doing air conditioning, but we'll see.
Okay, so when you say I'm leaving the country for 6 months, could be non-C10 related, but we're like, what the hell does this guy do? Why are you leaving the country for 6 months?
I would tell you, but I'd have to kill you.
No, you wouldn't. You're not that special.
I wouldn't kill you, but somebody might.
Well, who? Then we'll figure out what the hell's going on.
Federal government.
All right, so what do you do?
I work for the government.
What do you do for the government?
Stuff.
Oh, you can't even tell us what you do. So he works in Maryland. He lives in Maryland. He's a secret agent, undercover in the ugly C10, and he's here having a good time. LST, is this your first time to LST?
First time. 23 hours to get here, and it was awesome.
Now, he did trailer this, just so he didn't drive it all the way here, but they did still take 23 hours. You've got your peeps around here. You've got the Pittsburgh machine. What do you think? It's Friday yet, so we haven't got to full capacity. What are you thinking about LST?
I can't wait till tomorrow to see what actually comes in here. I'm still waiting for a few of my Instagram faves to pull up, but it's definitely awesome. I can't wait to see what comes in here, and it's been pretty awesome so far.
What should we be looking for when you say you got a couple favorites? What's out there that you really dig, that you like, that inspires you?
I wish that I remember their handle, but it's low something. It's a short bed white C10 with a nice cap on the back, and it's got the surfboard on top. Low something 82. I don't know what it's called, but I love that truck. I can't wait to see it. I don't know if it's come through yet, but it's been a lot of good things coming through. You see it on there, and then you get to see it in person. And even I'm standing next to one right now. I couldn't wait to see it, and then it comes down the street. Now it's parked next to me. So
he's talking about Herschel, which is making its way from AZ, Zaccardi built, over to Pittsburgh, PA. So Driscoll's picking this thing up. But he's right. Where Andy's at, he's right across from the GSI booth. And it's kind of I like to call C10 row. And a little bit of everything comes through here because it's right past where the judging takes place, and we get a good kind of perspective, a good preview of everything. So Andy, the ugly C10, I'm assuming that's where it's like underscore, or is it just it's just at ugly C10?
Yep, at ugly C10. You can find it there, and I look forward to just seeing more trucks and having an awesome weekend.
All right, brother. Be safe for 6 months, doing whatever you can't tell us about what you're doing.
I've said too much.
And yeah, we hope you don't get taken out or anything, or we get taken out knowing this now. But thanks for taking the time to talk to us about your ugly truck. It's not that ugly. It is kind of a duck if you think about the color, so that's kind of what I was thinking you were going at. But nonetheless, have a good weekend at LST. We'll have a beer with you here in a little bit. Thanks for your time.
Cool. Have a good one. Thanks for having me.
Late. LST is always going to bring us something. Well, how about a reveal? So Bill Gludd, we had him on C10 Nationals. Let's see, you had your C10, you had your Suburban, and now you just unveiled probably one of the sickest trucks here, if not the sickest truck. 1963 GMC Crew Cab short bed, 2415s, laid out, LSA, all the bells and whistles. I mean, you got to feel relieved.
Man, it's been a long blood, sweat, tears. All this is just it's real stressful, but I am very relieved it's here, and I'm impressed myself. It's that I saw the vision from when I first started, and it's almost to that point, and now it's so.
Well, and you even alluded to when we talked last time that you had something in the works. I mean, that's been coming up on, I think, like 2.5 years ago. These things take a long time, and you had this vision. You are obviously a type of guy and a builder that loves the vision, the process, and the build because you've lived it multiple times.
Yeah, and it is very, you get to this point and you still try to go back and you like the bed, the floor, some of that we've run into so many issues, and we thought we had to figure it out, but when you go and actually put it together, you're still going to hit the bumps and the hurdles with that, and it's nice to be able to get it to this point and it's to this level.
I love the point of the level. I mean, the level is, I don't even know what we call this level. I mean, do we call it the Glud level? Do we call it, to that level of, when I see it, it's a cover truck. It's beyond a 10. I mean, your vision, and it's not ordinary. It's not normal. It's the harder parts to find. It's the GMC. It's the complete sunroof, moonroof out of a Escadinale. It's the suicide door in the back. It's the color, the interior, the LED blue lights, the whole package. You guys, you do it very tastefully, and the big back window. I mean, there isn't anything that really, any stone unturned on this.
Right. Yeah, and it's I wanted to go. I mean, when I did my Suburban, it was a one-off, and I wanted it to be unique. And I even had a friend ask me, a friend's wife, and she goes, "Well, how are you gonna make it unique now? How are you gonna up that?" And I go, "Well, that's a good question." And when I thought of this process, when I wanted to do this truck, and I wanted to do that, that's why I took it. I tried to get as unique as I was, if not more than the Suburban was.
I can't even imagine, like, when you have this to the point where you want it, which you and I, before we hit record, you talked a little bit, like, it's not quite, this is brand new. I mean, you're working on it up to this point. You unveiled it Friday, LST. So there's going to be some things you're going to have to go back and tinker. But I can't imagine just sitting in your garage and looking at all your builds, and just, for you, that's a car show within itself. It's got to feel great. The color. Who's your team on this? When you look back at the whole process of 2.5 years, meeting your daughter when I first met you, and then meeting your wife and your whole team, there's a lot going on here than just meeting a 1963 rad-ass GMC crew cab.
Oh yeah, my wife is awesome. She whatever I do, she's okay with it. She knows, and she actually sent me a text earlier that she was real proud of me that we got it here and got it done in time. And she was at med last night sleeping when I was picking it up from the interior shop. So, and it's my, Alamo Customs. Me and Robert we're like best friends. We worked together on the color. We worked it out. And Mario with Sublime Heights on the interior. Me and him talked extensively and come up with this design. And it's getting there.
What color is this? What name is it?
It's a custom mix. We wanted something to look like a candy, but not a candy, and so we just kind of kept playing around with the colors and mixing. Off of spray outs, this is what I said. Yep, this is the one I want. So it's what we went with. And man, when we first sprayed it, I was floored. I was like, yep, that's it. That's the color. That's my favorite color too. So blue.
Well, it's a blue. I would say it's like an electric blue.
Yeah.
Candy. It has a little pearly candy in it, but it's a vibrant electric blue with a beautiful glove, Rawlings mitt leather, and then he's got the trim. Now, did you want knee knocker style? So for the audience, on a first gen C10 GMC, it's going to go up to 63. You're going to have a wraparound window, which is also kind of considered a knee knocker coming from the Tri-5 era trucks. Did you want that? What were you thinking?
Yeah, I like the knee knocker better. Aesthetically, it looks good with the crew cab especially. It's almost like that's the way that truck was made to look. And then when they changed it to 64 to 66, it looks like they kind of made a different windshield in that. And so the 60 to 63 knee knocker is definitely the better looking, in my opinion, truck.
It's proportionate and it flows. When you have that window, that's what I always like on a 63, is it's just cool that the way that the window wraps around and it makes it flow. And then for this truck, it's going to flow right on through the crew cab. You run at 2415s. I mean, I can't even imagine, the word on the street on those are just, you can get wheels, but you might not be able to get tires. Well, you obviously got tires, the bed floor, Alamo Customs for the audience. You think Ricky Holly, some of the highest end builds, they're set up here. They're killing it. This is their backyard. You're unveiling it here. I can't even see what wheels because we're sitting in the back. What wheels are you running?
Intro Lents. This is their newest wheel out there.
Brakes? What brakes?
Wheelwood.
Wheelwood brakes, gauges.
Dakota Digital gauges.
Look like those are almost like out of a Tri-5. Is that a different set? Yeah. It's because the GMC, they don't make a GMC?
Well, correct. We actually took out the GMC dash because I like the 62 Chevrolet. That's a 62 Chevrolet dash because of the double hump. And that's actually a universal Dakota Digital gauge cluster because we wanted to try to make it different.
Yeah, it's all flowing together. And then you did take that moonroof out of like a Cadillac?
Yeah, Cadillac SRX SUV.
The other thing you did is instead of going with trim, you went with an airbrush trim. We see that sometimes on the crew cab. You know, the reason why I think guys do it is you can't get trim when they don't make trim. So some guys will airbrush it. Is that what you were thinking?
Partly. We were going to go with the original trim, and I was actually talking to Mark Hay, and we were going to actually make the third door, the back doors. But with when we decided to go suicide doors, the hinge, the stock trim would hit when you open the door. So we had to go airbrush or no trim, and we went with airbrush.
Without a bevel in your trim for the, you think about like a 6772, you open that front door, there's kind of a flat bevel part there, and they went reverse on this rear suicide. So really a killer truck, Bill. Anything left? Anything else that we didn't hit? Any big parts that you're really proud of? I mean, another thing that he talked about was that he can control all 4 door windows from the front. So it's definitely a smart truck as well.
Yeah, we put all the window controls in actually above on the sunroof up top, and JBL was on board with it. It's a full JBL stereo system. Just got to get to all the bugs and kinks worked out of it, but I'm happy it's here.
Do you have a name for it?
I do not. I've actually wake up at night trying to think of a name because people ask me that, what I'm going to name this one, and I didn't come up with anything yet.
It'll come with you, man. It really will. I hope I see this at SEMA. It's SEMA worthy. I don't know if that's something you want to get behind, but it's probably refreshing in the sense that you said, hey, this is a 2.5, 3-year build, if not more. You're here now, and honestly, SEMA's 6-7 months. You'll have every bug worked out of this thing and driving it and cruising it, enjoying it. I hope you have a great weekend this weekend, enjoying the fruits of your labor, you and Alamo and your team, because you guys killed it, and I guarantee there's going to be a crowd around this thing the whole weekend.
Yes, thank you, sir. I plan on going to SEMA with it this year. We were trying to get there this year, but like I said, we run into setbacks as most car builders understand. It happens, and so we're probably going to get there this year.
Well, one thing I love to give him a hard time about is how he just doesn't post enough social media. He is on Facebook, but on Instagram, not quite as much. If you think about what he's got in his shop, he's not hurting for material, especially with this truck. So you can follow him at 67 Bowtie. Bill, appreciate your time, and thanks for sharing this beautiful build with us.
Thanks a lot, Ronnie.
Late Saturday at LST, hopping and popping. Starting it off right over here at Octane and Iron. You guys are in a great spot, a little bleed over from Extensive. So I've got Chuck Johnson from Octane and Iron, and dude, I've been watching this thing kind of online. What's the story with the C10?
Man, honestly, this thing started out as a basic LSA swap build. He came in with the 24s, said I just want to do a simple LSA swap on a C10, and then you know how the ball rolls, and next thing you know, full-blown crazy shit, but I'm not going to complain one bit.
Yeah, crazy shit is right. That might be a good name for this thing. Right now it's pretty much in bare metal. They got the steering column in. We've been excited to see what's going to happen in, power plant wise. You got the motor in now, obviously turboed. This thing, I'm just going to guesstimate just by looking at it. You're looking at like an 800 plus horsepower. What's the story?
This thing will be at least 1,500 plus.
Oh, dude.
We've got a twin turbo LSX 427 in there. That's an LME fully built 427 capable of 2,000 plus horsepower. We've got our RPM transmissions 4L80 in there. That's built up to, I think, 1,300 or 1,400 horsepower. So we're going to try to beat on this beast as soon as we get it done.
So what's a guy do with that kind of horsepower? I mean, obviously, when you think about these trucks and the way they're built, you're really going to have to just build it from scratch, chassis, to be able to handle that. Did you know that the owner was thinking, once you guys sat down and changed the plans, hey, once we're gonna go over 800, over 1,000 horsepower, there's a bunch of decisions that have to be made there when it comes to, underneath this metal.
Oh yeah, for sure. We really had to kind of plan to make sure everything was gonna last and the longevity of the build. Luckily, we're not gonna put slicks on this thing, so it's not gonna hook up. So we're never gonna see the real brake factor on everything like that. But we should at least, it's gonna spin the shit out of the tires on this thing. But Scott's Hot Rods built the chassis for us. They put a really nice piece together for us. It's got a parallel 4-bar in the rear, Watts link. It's got a Fab 9 back there, 35 splines. I mean, pretty much we put the best of the best in here, making sure we're not going to break anything on this sucker. So.
US mags, it looks like 2415s. What are they?
2415s in the back, 24.9s up front actually too. So we decided to go ahead and squeeze some 24s up front. Most people break down to 22s, but if we're pushing everything, we might as well push all the limits.
Let's go over here and look at this motor. So, yep, both sides, twin turbo. I mean, you guys, matched it up spot on. A lot of times you don't see that. What was your guys', was he a balance guy, or are you guys a balance guys?
I mean, we're balance guys, and at the end of the day, symmetry's key on all this stuff. We actually hired the guys over at Pro Speed Autosports here in Houston to do all the twin turbo work. Dave Donald's the owner over there, really got to kind of show what he can do with his craftsmanship in it. They build a lot of race cars over there, so he was really excited to finally spend some time and get to show off how pretty his stuff he built. He took the time himself, the owner. He built all the manifolds and everything, so he's the one who broke down and built it all, where it's all symmetrical. Even with the catch cans and the everything like that, he tried to keep both sides with the overflow and the expansion tanks so that they all kind of match each other, and he really played well on that. So.
Oh, he really did. You got your alternator and everything on one side, AC compressor, everything, turbo setup, one side mismatch, and this thing is an absolute beast. Intakes on both sides. I did see, so it looks like some Porterbuilt hood hinges on there.
Yep, yeah, we definitely running some Porterbuilts on there. As soon as you go above a 20 and start to lay out, you really start to run into hood hinge clearance issues. Porterbuilts really knocked them out of the park on this. We use them on a lot of our builds. The simplicity of the install on those, and they function and work great. So.
How about this dash? So coming around, not your normal, not your dad's C10 dash. You guys are doing some killer flow. Back to that balance again. This is definitely the one of one when it comes to dash.
No, the dash was definitely something we wanted to do a little bit different. We wanted to get a little bit late model feel with the dash and kind of, late model guts in the truck. I got to give all the credit to my brother on this one. Lane came up with all the design on this. He's done all the fab work on it, and he really just went the extra mile on the dash. It's all set up to be leather wrapped. So we've already spaced everything. It's a 16th on each side of the panels for each one that's getting wrapped, so we don't have any squish in the leather. So everything's gapped and spaced for what's getting painted versus what's getting wrapped. Aaron Davis over at Innovative Rides is going to be doing the upholstery in this one. So I think we're going to get him to, in the next 8 to 10 weeks, we're going to send him the cab, and he's going to get started on getting everything wrapped up. He's going to finish tying the dash into the door panels and build everything else, full console and all that stuff. We're going to do a small little floating console in there and keep it real simple.
I love that you guys matched the steering wheel. You got the US Max steering wheel. How about these door handles? What'd you guys go with?
These are GSI door handle. I mean, GSI is really killing the game on a lot of their machine work right now. So, I mean, you got to kind of play those guys into every full build at the same time also. At the same time on the windows, we did the One Piece Products windows in here. We've also incorporated a trick latch. Now, they say they don't work with the One Piece Products windows. They only work with the Brothers. But we've actually re-engineered the kit, and we have the factory rear window tracks here for the truck. So this window works like brand new factory truck. Shuts great with the trick latch in there. We redid the door jamb, so everything really flows well, fits well. Looks like it was made to be this way.
I like that you brought that up, because I could see that you fabbed here on the door, on the B post of the door, and that's the key, is that trick manufacturing. You're taking the modern technology, they're incorporating into these old trucks, because we all know these C10s just don't close the way that the newer style trucks close, doors close, or vehicles for, in general. Another thing on your one-piece window, a lot of times you'll see where you'll have the kind of the corner there, and you guys don't have that. So very, very clean. I'm sure it took a lot to get that to kind of all go together.
Yeah, and I've got to give credit to One Piece Products with that. They do engineer this kit. One Piece Products makes the kit with the full window that goes front to back. But trying to get that to work with a trick latch and these GSI door handles and have everything clear and work and shut and function properly, that's the real headache, is combining everything into one and making them all function together properly. That's the tough spot.
So really, and I don't want you to give away all your secrets, but because the trick latch incorporates, going inside, you guys are running into kind of a real estate issue on the back of the windshield for the door?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, the glass, you run into, the door's only so wide, so you can only do so much in there. So we moved the pocket out there, and then we adjusted on the door jamb and built a pocket that matches the pocket we made on the door there itself, and that gives plenty of clearance for both to work and function properly. And I mean, it really just makes it a seamless install that way.
So just kind of the cab itself, the B post of the cab, they kind of notch that back, and then took the real estate in and a little give and take, and it worked out good. A little nip and tuck. Your brother obviously is doing that fab work. Now, what about this trans tunnel? That thing is gorgeous.
Yeah, I mean, it's a monster. Lane prides himself on his metal work, so at the end of the day, everything he does is going to be pretty. If it's not, our scrap pile looks awesome, just as awesome as this truck does. So
but we won't tell anybody about that.
I mean, every fabricator's scrap pile better be cool. I mean, if they're lying if it's not. So Lane did a great job on that. That tranny's way up in there. It's almost sitting inside the cab, but with the 24s in the back to get the driveline angles correct so we can really hammer down on this thing, I mean, that's what we had to do. So basically, with no trans tunnel in here, I mean, the tranny was almost completely inside the cab. But it lines up, one-piece drive shaft. We're not doing a two-piece. None of these U-joints are going to be in crazy working angles, so we're going to be able to put the power to the ground at the end of the day with this. So,
what tranny is this thing?
It's a 4L80 from RPM Transmissions.
So for the audience, just a 4L82, they're so massive. They're heavy as hell. So you obviously had to push that thing back. You got this huge tranny tunnel in there. It looks cool. I can't wait to see the upholstery done. Now, what was your thought when I look at the dash and I look at the fab on this type of truck? You're normally, well, not normally, you often see the drip rail taken out. Did the owner, did you guys, were you like, hey, let's keep what we got, or is that something that we'll see down the road change?
We're not done with the drip rails yet. This truck's going to have drip rails on it, but we're going to do a little play on the factory drip rails. So here in the next month or so, you should see some changes with the drip rail. So keep an eye on our Instagram or our Facebook page, and we'll definitely post up some modifications, but there's some definite plans for the drip rails coming up.
All right, cool. Now, another thing I see is behind the cab, you guys have that bed pushed forward a little bit. That's a tight-ass gap. What was your thoughts on all that?
I like them tight, man. I like them tight. All aspects of life, I like them tight, so I don't know what to say.
Yeah, I don't know what to say on that one either. But that's not going to happen very often that I'm not going to have something to say. Tailgate, looks like you guys kind of Frenched the top of the tailgate a little bit, gave it a little style.
Yeah, we kind of gave it a little spoiler play. I mean, you kind of look at some of the late model C10s, how they've got the plastics on the top on the bed rails. So we kind of get a little flow like that. The little round shape that's on the factory tailgate, it doesn't really match the truck at all, so they don't really fit the factory shape. And I just don't like the way they fit up when they're finished. They just never look correct to me. So Lane came in, reshaped the back corner of the bed sides, reshaped the whole tailgate, and then, man, everything flows together a lot better now.
Yeah, that little 56 Chevy going here. Just a scotch of a spoiler, like you kind of said. Big old huge inner fender wells. What color is this thing going to be?
It's going to be 57 Chevy Bel Air, teal and white. We're going to have all the factory trim on here, factory wood grain trim, upper trim. So this thing's going to look almost completely stock on the outside when it's all finished, besides a few slight body modifications we've done.
What about exhaust with a motor this mean and the sound and everything you guys are going to be doing? I can't imagine. It's going to be gnarly.
I mean, a turbo's a muffler enough on this thing for me, so, I mean, that's about it.
Come on. Dude, somebody's going to want something on there.
I don't know. Brian, the owner of this truck, he's kind of batshit crazy like the rest of us, so, I mean, I think we're just going to hog down and let everybody listen to this beast roar.
Yeah, it looks like a fun build. How long do you guys anticipate completion on this thing?
Man, I'm hoping to have it done within the next year. It's been a long build. We kind of drawn it out a little longer than all of us hoped, but the truck has come out way better than any of us expected from the start, so we don't want to rush quality at the end of the day.
I like what you said, too. Just like the story we've all heard so many times. These trucks snowball, the money, the changes, and the vision. And so to have that vision, stick with it. I can't wait to see this thing 2021 LST. The boys from Octane and Iron, Chuck, Lane, keep doing what you're doing. For my audience, you guys get on social media, follow them, and watch this crazy build kind of unfold. Do we have a name for this truck?
We don't have a name for it yet, man. Guys, send us some messages, shoot us some DMs, come up with some names for this thing. Maybe we'll stick your name on the build.
It's a gnarly bitch, something like that, man. I don't know, man.
Crazy.
Tight. She's tight.
We'll take that.
All right, Chuck, thank you so much for your time. You guys check them out, Octane and Iron. Awesome build, bro.
Hey, man, we appreciate it.
Hey, guys, I have Andrew from Painless on. Andrew, our guys are thinking about rewiring their truck. Why should they choose Painless Performance?
Well, Ronnie, we've been doing it 30 years now. We're American made, American proud. We have unmatched tech support. You'll get one of our guys right here in Fort Worth, Texas, if you have a call. And, our installation manual is full color and covers everything you need to know.
You guys offer a ton of different varieties. Break that down a little bit for us.
Yeah, so we cover everything from 63 to 87, specific C10 harnesses. It'll be, a little more plug and play for kind of a stock or lightly modified truck. But then for those real radical, smooth firewall, air ride, crazy builds, we have the Pro Series. It'll have all the connectors, terminals, everything you need, but you can custom fit it, hide the wiring, and build it to your build.
There you go, guys. You get rid of that 40-plus-year-old wiring. You get easy-to-read printed wiring. Painlessperformance.com. They've got you covered if you want to go OG Classic or if you want to go something customized. Thanks, Andrew. Painlessperformance.com. Hey, guys. I've got Kathy White, Classic Performance Products, CPP on the line. Kathy, how's it going?
Hey, Ronnie. What's up?
What's up? What's new?
We've got a ton of things for the C10 community. First things first, our 2.5-inch Extreme X10 drop spindle. So we've upgraded the current modular spindle to modern technology. This new X10 spindle is a one-piece forged, but it utilizes strong, modern, bolt-in, internally sealed bearing hub assembly. So it's low maintenance. It doesn't move the wheels out, and you can use big brakes from us or any aftermarket big brakes out there in the market.
That's awesome. What else is new?
So we have actually gone back and redesigned our aluminum fuel tanks. As you know, our fuel tanks are the thickest, strongest, and largest capacity in the industry. But now you can actually use the same tank for either a carbureted or a fuel injection application. 63 to 72, it's 20 gallons, and for 73 and newer, 22-gallon capacity.
How about that coilover kit? You guys must be killing it with that thing.
That is such a great kit. It's fully bolt-on. It's easy to install. Strongest tubular arms in the market, available with either upper and lower or just the lowers or just a coilover kit by themselves. All the mounting brackets that you need, and it also comes with dual adjustable coilover shocks. So it's really responsive. It's up to you however you want to tune the compression or the rebound. It's perfect if you're just cruising on the streets, and it's proven on the track.
Well, that's what we like. So if you need spindles, the new X10, fuel tanks, coilovers, they've got it. Classic Performance Products, CPP. And don't forget, use code C10TALK, C10TALK at checkout and save 10%. Thanks, Kathy.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Dude, the biggest and the baddest on this one, Mr. Mike Sneed. You might not know who Mike is, but I guarantee you know who his truck is or what his truck is. Extensive built, TV, La Perla, 1970, however you want to look at it, Suburban, crew cab, dually, Cummins, the whole 9 yards. He's sitting here out by his truck, and there's a big-ass crowd around it. And that paint, Mike, so thanks for taking time to come on and talk to C10 Talk and the C10 Nation. First, we talked about it, that color. What was your thoughts on when they told you, when Bill's like, hey, we got this La Perla color, we're going to paint your truck. How did it all shake out?
Dude, it actually was badass. I didn't have really any idea. When I saw it, it was just, took my breath away, honestly. No TV bullshit. It was amazing.
You can say all the bullshit you want. It's either going to be you or me.
Okay, cool. So, yeah, I mean, it was just, like I told Bill when he built it, I said, dude, I want a long bed crew cab dually with a Cummins. Everything else is on y'all. So they picked the color, the interior, everything, and it literally took my breath away the first time I saw it.
Well, I like one thing you kind of said earlier was like, hey, I know what I do for my job. I'm a professional, and here's what I want. Once you do this, as a owner and prospective client, right, or as a client, did you ever get to the point where were you ever nervous at all about it?
Yeah, honestly, I was. And I told them, I was like, I'm either going to love it or hate it, and you're going to get a true reaction from me. So I told them, I said, I don't build cars for a living, so I'm not going to tell you how to do your job. Don't come tell me how to do mine. So it was an awesome experience with those guys, though. They're really badass.
Well, and you're a homegrown guy, right? So you're right here, they're right here. How was it being on TV and watching it or seeing it firsthand and then reliving it once you got to see the episode?
I'm a pretty private person. I'm not that type, so I was nervous enough being on TV. So when I saw it, it took a while to set in. I saw it 3 or 4 times literally before I noticed little things like there was no mirrors on it. You know, just the little styling cues that they did that took me forever to notice, and I guess some people may never notice. And so it was cool.
Well, and until you said that, I was like, oh, once you said the mirrors, I'm kind of looking at it. Obviously, there's so much flush-mounted glass, and I love that they used the right rear fenders because they didn't make a dually, back then, and they did it right. You had Brandon Cisco just here. They brought Brandon in to help with that crazy fourth door, because in the Suburban you get the third door. Everything is really done just right. We did talk about the tailgate, or the lack of, and how is it driving it?
It's amazing. It has more power than I ever would have dreamed. But I mean, it rides good. It drives good. Turning radius to be almost 21 feet long isn't bad. So, I mean, I can't say enough. We cruise it all the time.
Is that really your plan with it? Just cruise the shit out of it, mob it, and have a good time with it? Because I could see you working this thing.
For sure. You know, we bought it, and everybody's like, oh, it's a trailer queen. We drive the snot out of that truck. And I probably would do more work with it, but one thing we did decide not to do is to put the gooseneck hookup in it. And so we actually just drive it more as a cruiser than anything. But I mean, heck, if we needed to haul something with it, we sure could with the horsepower and the motor that's in it.
What tranny's in it?
There is a 48 RE Cummins-based transmission from, and it has it's a monster transmission, and then it's got the 24 valve Cummins in it, powering it.
I was just wondering if it was a 5 or a 6 speed.
It's a 6 speed.
Okay, because that makes a big difference, right? So, I mean, when you think about what you're cruising, when you see people, like when you're driving it, I mean, people just shit their pants.
And a lot of people don't believe that I'm actually driving it. Yeah, so I've had a few young kids think they're going to outrun it, and they're just not. I'm not. I'm kind of the old guy out there cruising, but somebody wants to run it, I'll drag your ass with it, and that's all there is to it.
Take us back all the way back when you're like, hey, I kind of want a crew cab dually. What was your C10 lineage? When you look at this truck, they didn't make this truck. We've had fabricators, try. Some have. Brandon was, part of the build. But you don't see them very often. They're very rare. What was your thought on just being a C10 guy and having something really different?
And actually, the whole idea was, credit to a guy by the name of Jason Cassidy with Cassidy Customs. When I bought the truck, it had a dovetail bed on it. People that have seen the episode of the build, the original idea was for it to haul my OBS. We're building a 98 Pro street truck. And so the idea was to build it into a hauler. And that's kind of the reason it was called the hauler. And then once we got into it and realized there was as much body work and stuff that needed to be done, that's when we kind of turned and went a different route and kind of got what we have here. But I've always been a Chevrolet guy, went from the square bodies to the OBSs and fell in love with the new body styles. But, going back, that's my youth. That C10 is just my youth. And I just turned Bill and them loose on it and told them, like I said before, here's the 4 things I want. Give it to me.
Make it happen.
Exactly.
Do you think when you think, okay, I'm going to let Bill turn him loose, which you already know who, Texas Metal and Extensive is, when you say that, you're turning loose. And I'm assuming, okay, you're thinking most guys, it's a 5, Bill, it's a 7 or an 8, and then holy shit, you just got a 12 out of the deal.
Exactly. And the other thing is, when we originally talked about doing it, there wasn't an open spot on the show. So we had talked about an 18-month to 2-year build on it. And then a spot opened up. And that's one thing that I didn't realize. They completed that truck in about 11 months. So, I mean, for them to get that quality of work out of an 11-month build, it's still to this day amazes me when I walk around it.
And the paint and the flow and the glass, because there's so much glass because it's a big ass truck, but we get to see the interior. Even riding in the back looks fun,
It's and my 19-year-old daughter, actually she's 20, she just turned 20. She drives it all the time, so that's kind of my deal. I like to just sit in the passenger seat and just ride and just cruise. And so we put the baby in the back seat. We just go. She has a 13-month-old. And so we put the baby in the back seat and just cruise, and it's fun. It's absolutely a blast to ride and drive.
Put the tunes on and then put the baby to sleep.
Yep, heck yeah. Special thanks to Heath Moore with Heath Moore Interiors for the interior and the sound system, and and Bill and them for building a badass truck.
Well, we appreciate your time. It does sound like You eluded a little bit. What's next? So you got a 98 CK truck?
Yeah, we got a 98, just regular cab, OBS, 6.0 with an 80 millimeter turbo, 4L80 with a 3200 stall in it. Acme Chassis out of Fresno just completed a chassis for us for it. Next is a 98 two-door Tahoe and a 95 to 2000 crew cab dually, and paint all three of those to match.
Wow. So is Bill doing all those?
No, actually, Jason Cassidy's doing the one we're working on now, and I'm sure he'll do the other two. You know, just he kind of got me in on this OBS deal, and I'm a pretty loyal guy, you know, so the original idea on this actually was Cassidy's, like I say, but he's a touring artist, and he said, man, hot rods is my love, but music is where I make my money, and so...
Yeah, we like Jason. I love listening to him. He's part of C10s in the Park, and he's definitely on my guest list. So this is a guy I got to get out and interview, and maybe I'll get to talk to him about your OBS truck. Mike, thanks for taking time for the C10 Nation. We love your truck, and I'm just glad it turned out.
Me too.
LSC 2020, late. Boom. I tell you what, man, we got Josh. And we have this beautiful 72 cab with the 67, 68 front clip. First, I'm just going to throw it out. What's the name of this truck? And welcome to C10 Talk, Josh.
We didn't really give the truck a name. I just call it the C10. Everybody makes names for their trucks, and that's just really not my thing, so I always just call it the C10.
Well, this is a very amazing, beautiful, cherry C10. Tell us about this thing. How did this build come about? This is a high-end truck for my audience.
Yeah, I started building it myself in the garage. I had ordered a bunch of parts from AZ Pro Performance, and I did.
That was a nice plug, by the way.
Yeah, those guys are great, Travis and Nick. So I started in my garage with the frame, with chopping block kit and all that, powder coated the frame, and then we had Hurricane Harvey come through Houston, and everything got flooded, so I knew I wasn't going to be able to finish everything. So at that point, I took it over to Chaotic Rods and Customs in Conroe, and it's supposed to be just a clean driver, and obviously that escalated, and they took it to another level, and we just love how it turned out, man.
I don't even know what level this is. I mean, it's the top of the top. You have a team, Chaotic, your interior, your motor, your wheels. I mean, walk us through. Are you making those decisions? Is Chaotic? Are you guys kind of teaming up on it? And at what point did you know this is completely out of hand?
Well, for all the parts stuff, I made those decisions. Chaotic did a lot of decisions as far as like body mods, little subtle things, and they made a bunch of the custom brackets and did the custom mud flaps, things like that. That was all their idea. The motor I already had and done. They made the custom intake and things like that just to clean it up. I came with like the parts, and Chaotic just made it like ultra clean. That's what we were going for, like clean and classy, stock-ish looking, but custom touches all over. You know, if somebody knows this body style truck, they can tell that there's some custom touches done to it just to make it stand out from the rest. And then I went with shot wheels, just because I love their designs, man. Their finish on them, the ceramic coating is just like second to none. And that was also AZ Pro. They're the ones that talked me into those, and they helped a lot with all the parts, deciding what I needed to do and helping me all the way through the build.
Looks like you got a Snowden seat in there. You've got the flush mount Fessler glass. It's pretty amazing how that glass, front and rear, can just change the truck, the look.
Oh, yeah. Like, it makes it look like one of the newer trucks, and you put it in there and you get rid of the gaskets, and it just, like you said, it makes it look like a whole nother truck. It just gives it that different flair and just so cleans everything up. You don't have those old gaskets in there, and it's definitely worth the money, and it just changes the whole look of the truck.
The thing, too, just to make sure I mention this, is even though he's got the flush mount, if you just put the flush mount in, you'll still have a gasket kind of indentation, but Shot or Chaotic obviously filled all that in, and then what it does is it makes the A-post, it fills it in where the gasket would lay, and it just makes it crisp and clean and no caffeine. Are you running what are those, GSI door handles?
Those are from Delmo.
Okay, the Delmos, perfect. Everything, cowl is completely cleaned up, 67, 68, obviously because there's no marker lights, we would say 67, but it doesn't really matter at this point. Interior is very tastefully done. I love how you have kind of, instead of like a one-piece carpet kit, you know, you did different layers, gives it that separation over your high hump. How fun is it to drive, bro?
Man, I love driving it. I got to drive it out at Dino's from the hotel to the switch suspension get together, you know, a good hour each way. And everybody thinks I'm crazy for driving a truck this nice, but I'm not going to own it if I can't drive it.
I agree, man. It's killer. So really tastefully done. The wood and the bed. What other different modifications? Let me go around here. Look at this tailgate. Again, the rear glass looks beautiful. You got kind of a shaved, if you will. There's no Chevrolet on the tailgate. Very clean. Still left your handle, your tailgate handle. Looks like maybe a Marquez design on those taillights.
Yeah, those are the Marquez one-piece billet lights, and then the Cooper's Restorations flush bumpers.
Tucked tight. So Cooper Restorations flush rear mount, and they're very tight. The cool thing about them is they wrap around, whereas a normal 6772 does not. So they kind of give you that little bit of a lip there. He's got it all the way down. It looks like you kind of put some inner fenders there on the bedside.
Yeah, we built like mud flaps on the front and rear to kind of close up so you don't see in there, and it just looks real nice and cleans up the truck.
Beautiful steering wheel. Looks like he's got a Budnick steering wheel. Dakota Digital gauges. How's the system in this thing?
Sounds real nice. We've got Focal mids and highs, JL HD amps, and then 2 of the JL 10W3 subs, 10 TW3 the pancakes. And then we also did the hush panel for the AC. We shaved all the AC vents off the dash and built the panel underneath the dash to cover, kind of hides the vintage air box, and looks real clean with the billet vents in it. And just, like I said, clean and simple like the rest of the truck.
You know, the cool thing about that, you brought up the vintage air, is the vintage air takes everything from the outside, puts it on the inside, and I dig that. But you're right, like a newer truck, you'll kind of sit a little lower. So underneath your glove box door, you might see that just a little bit. So you guys kind of built a little panel there, and it all looks really clean inside there. It looks like it's comfortable as hell. Got what steering wheel you got, or what? Is that an I did it column? What column?
I did it column. I did it brush column.
Brushed with the tilt. Just beautiful. Now, you said you already had the motor with the EFI?
Yes, sir. It's a 6.0 LS, a truck motor that we took and changed out to the Holley intake. We did the All-American billet pulleys, billet specialties valve covers, put a Texas speed cam in it, relocated the coils on the frame, and gave it a wire tuck and paint. And man, just moving the coils makes these LS engines look so much cleaner. And you wire tuck it, and it gives it a real nice look. And then for the AC lines, we didn't go through the firewall. We went ahead and ran around through the fender to keep that firewall clean, and just makes it all real clean and simple underneath and nice looking.
So you guys kind of, for the audience again, just kind of giving you that picture. You're dropping down in, you're going to the inner side of the fender well, and then what they did is that their inner fender, they've morphed it on, and you've got it tucked in there, and then you're going in kind of that old school where the vent would have been, and you're kind of going in there, and it's all hidden, very classy. Switch hood hinges?
Yes, sir. Switch suspension hood hinges.
How about the underside of this hood? You went kind of on a rhino line?
Yeah, we did the color match bed liner under the hood, and we made like a trim piece out towards the back of the hood to clean it up, and we made some covers to cover up the supports, the hood supports. We had done some panel bond to try to clean them up, but they still just didn't look that great, so we built some quick covers with some button head screws to clean it up and make it look real nice underneath the hood.
How's the response been today, or this weekend, I should say?
Oh, man, it's been great. The show has been great. There's tons of people, and everybody loves it. There's so many nice C10s and just trucks overall here, you know.
What's the next stop for this thing?
We're going to Orange Beach Invasion in Orange Beach, Alabama.
You're going to kill it at that show, man. You're going to get a lot of praise for this thing. I could see this thing definitely being a cover-style truck. The paint, the color, the stance, obviously red. You can't go wrong. Now, one thing I was wondering, it's kind of hard to see from the color, the hue, but I wondered if it was orange on those heads, but you've got them matching, so it's kind of just that little touch where he's got his valve covers black, and he's got the heads just right at that red. Anything else you want to do to this truck?
Just enjoy it and drive it. That's it.
Drive the shit out of it.
That's right. Like I said, I'll drive it anywhere.
What's the best way they can kind of track this thing down? What's your social media?
On Instagram at jcoleman7827.
Thanks, Josh. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you.
All right. Sometimes you come across a gem, and Mark Osborne did, in fact, find a gem. 1972, two-tone, Cheyenne, super. Shorty. And Mark, tell us about this rad-ass truck.
Well, I found it. I actually traded a 96 short wheelbase truck for it, and that I had about $5,000 in, and then the guy wanted $7,000 cash with it. So he told me he thought it had 153,000 miles on it, but you can tell from the originality it only had 53,000 miles when I got it, and that has 54,000 on it.
So you obviously drive it.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I love it.
You're definitely a purist, walking around and checking it out, seeing some of the details that you've done, backed with the truck, and then some of the collectibles where, you know, he's got, for example, he's got the choke setting, he's got the original documentation, he's got everything plaqued up from the Protecto plate. It came with everything. You probably found a few things, but the way you like to display it is OG.
Yeah, original with lowered, because these trucks, in my opinion, look best when you just lower them a little bit. You put the 15x10s on the rear, and you can't beat that look.
Well, it's hard to beat it, too. You got white walls out. You got a BFG radio TA. You've got the right stance. I'm looking at it. It's probably a 4.6 stance. Disc brakes in the front. You've got your drums in the back. Anything else that you've done to this truck, or really have you had to?
No, I hadn't had to do anything for it. It'll start and run right now. It's got the original alternator on it, original hoses, original everything. The only problem I ever had is I had a fuel line leaking, and it was the original fuel line, and it felt like jelly when we pulled it off. It had just been so hot over the years and just melted in our hands.
About what time do you think it was repainted? For the audience, the exterior's been repainted. Again, it's a two-tone Cheyenne. You've got the dark green, white top, dark green, white middle, wood grain trim. About how long do you think it's been since it was painted?
It was painted in 2000. I know the gentleman that owned it, and it actually started off, a body shop bought it from the original owner, and they didn't get to it, so they sold it to this gentleman. And the gentleman actually had the original 1972 title, which you'll see in the truck, and he kept it. Went down and applied for a lost title, got a new title, and he sold it to a gentleman that owned some restaurants, and the guy simply drove it home, parked it in a shop, where years later when he wanted my white 96, and we did some swapping for it.
Take a lesson right there from that previous owner. Drives me bat shit crazy. BSC. When I find out, if you're going to buy an old truck, if you're going to sell an old truck and you've got original documentation, do not, I repeat, go to the DMV and give them that OG title. Go in, get a duplicate. I can only speak for Arizona, but if you can get a duplicate, they'll give you a duplicate, and then keep that original documentation, because once DMV gets it, they'll put a big void stamp on it, and they don't care. They're not going to give it back. And little old Nanny Cake sitting down there, she don't care either. She just thinks, I need to take this title, and I need to give him his new title. You know what I mean?
Let me tell you where to go. You can go down to a FedEx station or UPS someplace that makes detailed copies. They'll make a double-sided copy for you. It's identical. You can't tell a difference. You trim it out perfect. You fold it. You take it in there, you say, here's the title. They don't care. They don't know what a 1970 title looked like. They process it and go on down the road.
Title talk. That might be an episode I need to run through, because some of these different states have different rules. Pink slips, no title. But the more you can preserve the Protecto plate, the original documentation, the more value. And really sentimentally, there's nothing cooler than having an OG classic title.
Let me teach you something. I don't know if you know about this right now.
Teach me.
You know that GM Heritage from 77 and forward will give you the build sheet and documents on your truck. I believe it's $50 or $65. You send them your VIN number, credit card. They'll send you exactly what they got from the dealership. It'll show your invoice from the dealership. It'll tell you what dealership it came from, the weight of your vehicle, and the final price and all the accessories that were on your truck. Now, it doesn't work on the 72s, but if you've got a 70s model, I know that I've done a 78 model truck. I actually just bought a 78 short wheelbase Big 10 truck, and they will give you the whole history, the dealership it came from, everything, all the way to 87 I know of. I've done 87s and found the whole history on the trucks.
That's really cool to know, and I'm sure our audience is going to love that and dive in. GMHeritage.com. You can get online, and they'll work with you. I've looked up some cool stuff there. That's definitely a little bit of a wormhole. It's kind of like YouTube. You get sucked in. Watch out. What do you have planned for this truck?
Nothing. I'm gonna have it just like it is and drive it just like it is. You know, the two-tone is the interior is all green, and I was gonna go with a white interior, but the door panels are original. It was a solid green interior truck, so I really just don't want to take away from it. I'd plan on doing white with the green, inserts to give it a little bit of two-tone inside, but I believe I'm just going to leave it original. It's got the original AM, FM in it. It actually works with an original 72 speaker. It's like stepping back in time to listen to the radio.
Not only that, he's got a GM CB radio right in the middle underneath his AC selectors. He's got an AM, FM radio. You know this thing was friggin' bought by the original owner with some detail. He knew he wanted pretty much every bell and whistle.
Right, that's correct.
So, could you ever look back and find the original owner? Have you ever tried to?
I actually tried to. I tried Facebook. I actually went to a thing because it came out of Little Rock. The people's address is in North Little Rock, and I went to a website and asked if anybody knows these people's name. I got nothing. I didn't find anything or any history, and I really don't know where to go to find people. I find information on cars, but man, finding people are really difficult.
I think you can, back to Title Talk, a PI can do it. You can do some people searches. Some of the guys I've tried to track down for interviews, there are some pretty cool websites now. The deal is, who knows, you'd almost have to go back to the guy that you got it from, then go back to the body shop and see if they're still in business. If, in fact, they could say, well, was he an older gentleman? Was he not? At the low miles of this truck and the way it's been taken care of, we're assuming, especially as a short bed, it was probably an older gentleman that had it, meaning, he's probably no longer with us.
Actually, it's in the woman and the man's name, which I thought was pretty cool. But I actually Google Earthed the house, and it had a little bitty overhanging carport in a little bitty house in North Little Rock, Arkansas. Like I said, I go all the way back as far as I can because I love knowing the history of a vehicle.
Have you had the chance to go to the house?
No, it showed for rent, so I'm taking it that family's moved on, and that's a rent house, a rental property.
Well, there's how you can find your people, through a title agency for the house. If you know their address, there'll be a title agency on that house because it has to go through escrow, and they can find out eventually who owned that house. Because just like a car or a vehicle, they have a title and essentially the county will have who owned those houses. So if you really wanted to dive in, and for you, I hope you find them because it's a cool truck, and like you like the history. It's one of those trucks where it's the stage we're in now with these trucks. There's really nothing else you could do. You wouldn't want to do anything else with it because it's getting to the point where it's such a classic survivor. You're a purist. It's a pure truck. You have a name for this truck?
No, I just the green and white truck is what I call it. And what is really cool is I actually, when I bought the truck, it was lowered, and I put 20 and 22s off of another truck on it, and it took away from the truck. I got less attention and everything else, and people didn't believe it was his original. So I went back with some rallies and did the more 80s look for it, and now it's just, I'm hooked. The 15 by 10s on the rear just are perfect.
She's timeless, brother. I'm glad you got it. It always makes me feel good when a guy who's going to appreciate the truck is going to take care of it the way that you have and preserved it. How long have you had it, and would you sell it, or is it something you're going to always keep?
I'll always keep it. I've had it now for about 2 years, and probably going on 3 now. But anyways, I've had some really good offers on the truck, and I just don't want to sell it because I can't replace it. I always say never sell something you can't replace.
I love it, man. Title Talk, Osborne Motors. What was your Instagram?
Osborne Cars on Instagram.
Is there any underscores or dots or slashes or hiccups in there?
Osborne_cars with a Z, and can't miss it.
All right, guys. Out of Arkansas, we appreciate your time, brother.
Thank you.
It's all taken. That might be the name for this thing. It's all taken. 72_C10 Chet. Is there an underscore between?
Underscore between.
Oh shit! How many underscores are we gonna get?
2.
72_C10 Chet.
That's it.
In the GSI booth, LST 2020, big ass hoops in the back. We love this truck. It's gold. It's got personality. Tell us about this truck, brother.
It started out about a year ago as a daily driver old man truck and made the mistake of going to SEMA 2019. Met Scott and the guys over at GSI, wound up buying a full chassis, and it's been uphill from there.
Well, up or down, but you made the mistake of going to SEMA, and then you ran into the GSI guys, and then you said, I like this chassis, I'm going to build this rad-ass C10.
That's it. I saw the chassis, talked to the guys there at GSI booth, walked around, talked to all the other guys that had chassis. They had nothing bad to say about the chassis, so I spent the money and bit the bullet.
You must not have talked to me then.
No, sir. I had never.
I'm messing.
I was never even in the truck scene until I started this truck, and then I come across you on the Instagram. I follow you there, admire everything that you do for the scene.
Well, I appreciate it, and I love these boys, and I love the interviews that I've been able to get, and that's a cool thing. The chassis game is different, man. I always kind of struggle. I try to give everybody the love on the chassis and then kind of inform them and then let them make their decision based upon the information that we got, that we can give you, the guys, the C10 Nation, and the community, because there's a lot of players out there, you know what I mean? A lot of players. So we try to give you a little bit of love, and the cool thing is these guys are good peeps, so it's always cool to see good people building rad trucks and then getting kind of mixed up with these guys, like you said, like Scott from GSI. So did you had the truck and then you said, I'm going to get this chassis, and then from there, once you're going for the chassis, that it's going to be a snowballing effect or a badass build?
That's definitely true. If you do get it in your mind that you want to do it, you have to put your mind 100% to it. Lots of work, lots and lots of money spent. It's just a love. You got to love what you're doing, love the truck. And it's the best part that I've learned about this whole situation, being I'm new to the truck scene, is the people. All the people, here we are here, and they're from Florida to California. Everybody's friendly. Everybody will talk to you. Everybody is very informative. It's just a great time. The truck scene is definitely a great time.
I love hearing you say that, because that's I'm always preaching that, and I love that. And it's cool that you've found this family and that you've built this truck. And I like what you said. It's a lot of work. Well, it's a lot of work at your regular job to make a little extra scratch, or you're going to eat top ramen or however, because you want to spend a little of that that money. You know what I mean? And you did that. Now, you're an automotive to begin with, right?
Yes, sir. I have a shop there in College Station, Texas. And luckily, I have a girlfriend that understands that I'm going to do what I'm going to do, and that was build this truck.
What kind of automotive? General?
I run a mobile mechanic company in College Station. We do anything from lawnmowers all the way up to tractors and 18-wheelers.
So you guys stay pretty busy, tinker with this on the side, afternoons, evenings, and weekends?
Yes, sir. We've been open 11 years. I do my full-time job 8 to 6, and then this is from normally 9 to 2 in the morning for the past 8 months.
What's the vision? What's the plan in the next 12 months?
It has no bed now, obviously. Put the bed on it and just drive it. This is, a lot of people ask me why I put that much money into a truck and then run it down in a rainy road. I'm building it to have fun with.
What's the response been? Social media wise, we see the response. You've got the big 2415 US mags on here, and it's kind of cool that you don't have the bed on. We really get to see the monstrosity of that wheel, that tire, and just how mean that is with this truck. How's the response been? LST 2020, you're in the GSI booth, just the people seeing this just killer build.
It kind of makes you not want to put the bed on it, because once you put a bed on it, if you don't do a drop or an open floor, then everything's hidden. All the work, all the time that you have into the air lines, the fuel lines, the brake lines, the painting of the chassis, just everything that's hidden by sheet metal. I kind of might make it to where the bed's removable or a full dump bed, just so that everybody can see it. As far as the responses from everybody, every generation is different. You get the old men that walk up here and say, oh, this guy ruined this truck, and then you got the newer generation that's like, this is exactly what I want to do myself.
Yeah, and it's ultimately your truck, so it doesn't matter. But it is crazy. One of the things we've just dissected on the show is how a rolling chassis, the wheels, the brakes, the lines, the brake lines, the air lines, and all that, it's just a shame sometimes we have to cover it up. But that's what's cool about C10s is we love the cover-up. We love the body lines, we love the metal, and you chose a great one to cover up if you had to.
Yes, sir. Everything's been very fun so far.
Now, how did you end up finding this? You just some old boy had it, or what was the story on it?
Well, yesterday I turned 40 years old, and in high school I had the exact same truck, the exact same color, and have always wanted another one. Never could afford it. Well, my business has been successful, and one evening I sat down on the couch, popped up Facebook Marketplace, and there was a truck in Oklahoma. I told my girlfriend right then that I'm going in the morning to buy this truck. I actually went in, took a shower, sat down on the bed, about to go to sleep, got back up, put my shoes on, and drove to Oklahoma that night. It was about 11:30 at night, just because I had to get there. It was just the excitement.
Had you already contacted the guy yet, or was it like, hey, I'm coming, get ready?
I did. I contacted him on Facebook while I was on the couch, told him I'm very interested, 100%. Said he had another guy coming in the morning, so I was second in line, and I talked him into telling him that if I came tonight, I'll stay in a gas station parking lot and sleep in the front seat of the truck, and I'll meet him at his house at 6 in the morning. He agreed. He knew that I was 100% on the truck.
You're passionate about this truck.
It was very passionate. When you have something, and dang near anybody that's a car guy, truck guy, any of it, want what they had in high school as far as their first truck, or maybe not the first one, second one, something that they had in the past. It's great to be able to find something that gets your blood going again. And that's what this one did.
Well, I got to think, you were probably like, hey, I just want like a 69 to 72. And then to actually get the right color, you had to just be beside yourself. And obviously that's why you said, F it, I'm going.
That's it. I was 100% adrenaline running the whole 9 yards. Drove all the way. It was a 6.5 hour drive that night to get there, and I was wide awake the whole drive, excited, super excited.
Now, walk us through when you first saw it. Were you happy? Were you like, oh, because sometimes I've done that where I drive and I'm let down, and I hope for your sake you weren't.
I did not even test drive it. I gave the man the money, we put it on my trailer, and I came home. That was it.
So now, since you've had it home, you've had it for how many years? How long have you had it?
Last month was 1 year.
Okay, so you've made a lot of progress. Let's walk around here. He's got is it a 6.60 or did you say it was a 6.2?
This one is a L92 6.2.
What's it out of?
It's 2007 Cadillac Escalade is what I pulled it out of.
4L80?
The transmission is also the stock transmission, which is 6L80. It was a four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive. I converted it to the two-wheel drive and built. The transmission is not built. The motor is built.
The cool thing, too, about this truck is he's got the U.S. mags on there, just absolutely huge. And then he took a 2018 truck.
18 Chevrolet Silverado interconsole. It just fits with the lines of the truck as far as how it comes up to the bottom of the dash. It didn't fit just right. It was a little bit short, so I bought one whole console off of Facebook Marketplace and then called Chevrolet and bought two more tops and two more sides and then just spliced them all together to stretch it a total of 5.5 inches.
You did a really good job with incorporating the lines of the console. So what we're talking about is the console, the middle console. He's even got, he could charge his phone. He's got the cup holders. He's got his AccuAir controller setting in there just right. All the right pushes and buttons and everything flows really well. And then your seats just match. And because, he just kept the flow going, his door panels and the dash pad itself, they all match. You did a really good job on the interior.
The TMI stuff was great. It was a very good fit. That was one thing with the truck. I wanted a solid drivetrain and a modern feeling interior, and that's exactly what we got. Everything fit great. It's smooth. The push-button gear shifter, the paddle shifters, the AccuAir controller there, it all just fits. It's clean.
I feel like when I'm looking at the driver's door right now, it's almost been repainted. But when I see the character, it hasn't. There's dings and dents, but it's a really beautiful gold.
Thank you. One time it has been painted. It's a little bit of a shinier gold, I guess is the best way to put it, than what the factory gold color was, but it still gives a little bit of patina, but not a showroom truck. I can drive this thing to Walmart, park it up front, and not worry about it. If somebody door dings it, it's going to happen. This is a driver.
What rear end you got?
That is a Ford 9-inch, and I can't recall what I pulled it out of. It was a factory disc brake, a Ford 9-inch. It was a Ford, I can't remember the name.
How about gears?
I went with a 355 rear gear posi.
Well, and because you are so tall, I don't know what a 24-15 ends up working out. He's got 405 25 ZR 24s, so about 32 inches.
Right at 32, 11, 50, right in that area.
So if you're running a 355 gear, that's almost like a 304 or something, right? Because you're pretty high. This thing's going to haul ass.
At 80 miles an hour, I'm barely kicking 2,200 RPM.
That's a good problem to have, especially from a guy that's been driving a turbo 400 big block here, and with Yellowstone, it's 3,200. So my buddy Goose, I don't even know what he's doing at 3,200, but it's a beautiful truck. I love the color, I love the story, and that's exactly why we do this, Chet. Is the people. You said it, and the story behind the build. What's the name of this thing?
Honestly, there's not one. I've never named anything I have. I take that back. I've got a square body dually that we call Big Booty Judy, but this one has not come up with a name yet.
Do you think it's pretty cool that the dealership tag is still on there?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We thought about taking it off, but it adds character.
How do you think you say that?
Steakley.
Because it's Steakley, so it's like Stakely, but Steakley. I think you're right. I think it is Steakley. Right. I think that might be a cool name for this thing.
Hell, I barely can say it.
I'd ask you how to say it. Steakley. I don't know, man. This thing's rad ass. We've seen it on social. I'm glad you brought it out, and I hope the response. And I can only imagine when you're rolling this thing, what is it like when people see you rolling down the strip on this thing?
It's dangerous. You almost cause accidents because everybody wants to pull out their cell phone and take pictures. Even if it's on a trailer, it's nuts. Everybody gives great response. It's very exciting, very motivational, I guess is the word to say, to keep going with it.
Good. Now, let's wrap it up. Your girlfriend, she approved it. She didn't have much say in it. She didn't have no choice in it. What does she say now?
Call me when you're coming home.
But is she pretty supportive of this thing? She want to go ride in it? She's like, all right, I like your vision, Chet. This is pretty rad.
I let her drive it one day, and she jumped in the gas pedal, and she said she won't do that again. It scared her. But, no, she loves it. She enjoys it. She sees that I'm happy, and that's the most important part, that both of us are happy about it.
I just thought of another name for this thing because I saw your cigarette box in there, and that damn thing matches the Marlboro Lights. So this might be the Marlboro Light man. This thing matches exactly the freaking Marlboro Lights. He's got a Marlboro Light box in the truck here, and I look at the color of this damn thing, and I'm like, I think we might have figured out a name. But I'll let Chet figure that out. Chet, always a pleasure. Thanks for taking time to spend with C10 Talking to C10 Nation, brother.
Thank you, Ronnie. We appreciate what you do for the scene 100%.
I love it. Later, guys. C10 Nation, let me tell you about my buddies Travis, his dad Jack, a.k.a. Dad, and Nick. They run Pro Performance, AZ Pro Performance. They're active in our community. They're C10 guys. They're always working on new stuff, like their new suspension line, React Suspension. They're master dealers for AccuAir, Dakota Digital, Bear, Boyd Welding, Vintage Air, and many more. They're C10 specialists and stock many fast-moving products backed by their stellar customer service. Not only do they sell C10 parts, but they live and breathe C10s and are very active in our community. Like I said, look for them at your next truck show. Nick might be there if they let him out, but usually Travis and his dad, Jack, and they want to talk to you and help you out with your C10 project. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and you can also check out their Facebook group called C10 Addiction. So check them out and let them know that I sent you. Hey guys, I have Greg Carpet from Dakota Digital on. Greg, why should we choose Dakota Digital?
Ronnie, I think we're the best. If you want something that looks cool and fits in the dash, we've got that. If you want something that's going to work with either a 327 or an LS3 or anything in between, we can do that. We've got a ton of direct fit instrument systems for all these pickups, and then we've got some modules that'll plug into the computer for your LS, your LT, pull all the info straight out of the computer, put it in the cluster. So it's really the easiest, most functional, most user-friendly package on the market.
I agree. And the cool thing is, from the modern perspective of technology, you can even use your phone if you need to.
Yeah, our HDX and RTX lines of instrumentation, so our newest platforms we've released, do have a mobile app, and you can put that on your phone or your tablet. So not only speed calibration and color selections and all of the setup parameters can be done on your phone or tablet, you can also run the real-time gauges. So if you're, say, under the hood, working on something, you can have the oil pressure and the coolant temp pulled up so you don't have to run back and forth. So app is really a nice upgrade on these.
you want the look, you want the performance, and you want to be able to see your gauges, Dakota Digital. Thanks, Greg.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Sunday fun day. I got my Sunday's best on, and I had to track down Pedro Barcinist. He's out of Houston, and I love this truck. What's your Instagram again? Because it's like Pedro something or rather.
Yeah, it's a Pedro_Team Billet.
Oh, it is just Team Billet. Okay, so Pedro_Team Billet. Obviously, he's with Team Billet, and he's got a 72. It's got a 69 front grill. It's got 67, 68 trim. But this is one of those trucks where when I post it up, it gets a lot of love. You got that Houston deep dish.
Right, yeah.
Deep dish. So your 24's front and rear. What are you, 24.15 in the rear and 24.9 in the front? Okay. Tell us about your truck, Pedro.
Yeah, so I bought this truck about 3 to 4 years. 4 years this in October. A lot of modifications went into it since then. Starting with the drivetrain. Added a little bit of trim on the side just to make it stand out a little bit. 67, 68 trim from Mark K. Added the wood bed on there, and then color matched the tubs on there as well. Has a Relicat interior inside, which is brown. Has the Phytech on there. Originally, it was a carburetor truck, so the story's real funny with this one. The first day that I drove it, the very first day, I stepped on it a little bit, and I guess the carburetor kind of choked, and so it died, right? It died on me, so we had to manually put a little bit of gas and on the lines, and so it started working. And a couple of friends told me, man, it's just testing your patience. I had just like 2 weeks. See if you're going to stick with it or you're going to sell it. I stuck with it. My wife was like, man, you know what? You need to stick with it. And so I stuck with it, and I fixed it. I put the Phytech fuel injection system on there. And ever since, man, I haven't had a problem with this truck. Chaotic Customs in Conroe, Texas built it for me, and they did a badass job, man.
Oh, it's killer. I think the thing that sets it off, obviously, it's the brilliant white. You have the 67, 68 trim on it, and then those huge intros. And I just jumped in. He let me kind of take a ride. It's comfortable.
Yeah, it's comfortable. It has that bench seat on there. Some changes are coming this year for that. A new design on it. So stay tuned on that.
And your air management?
Yeah, it's a VI Air. So it has VI Air all around. And so it works great, man. I mean, I've never had a problem with it. Just as regular maintenance, but that's it.
What's your favorite part about this truck?
I love driving it, man. Everywhere I go, I get thumbs up. It's a stress reliever. You take it out on the weekend. Everybody likes the truck. It's reliable. That's probably what I like, man. I've taken this thing to work a couple of times. Everybody likes it, so yeah.
A lot of thumbs up, a lot of encouragement when you're driving it.
Yeah, a lot of encouragement, man. Everybody likes it, and it stands out a lot because that pearl white, especially when the sun hits, it's beautiful, man.
You have a name for this truck?
Not yet, man. Hopefully some guys can help me out, come up with a name. I've been thinking about it, but for sure, I'm going to come up with a name.
So you've got some plans in 2020, 2021 for this truck, little by little, but enjoy it and just drive the hell out of it, and then little by little just keep adding to it?
Yeah, little by little, just keep adding to it. Slowly but surely it's going to get there. It's the color. I love the color. I just got to work a little bit on the engine too. So this year as well, the 6.0 is going to go on there, clean that out. Gave me some pointers where to go with the FAV work as well. So we'll make it work, man, for next year LST as well.
Well, we talked a little bit right before. I told him, man, get some hard fab in there because he's not really running any inner fenders right now. And I was like, man, we got to get you some hard fab in there. He wants a lot of sheet metal going in there. He's got 24s, so we got to see if we can make that happen. Was this your first C10?
Yeah, it's my first C10, but it's my dream truck, man. Ever since I was little, my dad used to have a C10 as well. He had an 87 square body. Man, and I've always liked the square body too, but I like the 67, 72. That's my favorite right there. So always been my dream truck.
Awesome, man. It's stories like this, guys. They get their truck, they enjoy it, they enjoy the people that are giving them praise, and it keeps you going, keeps you motivated, and keeps you working. Pedro, thanks for stopping, and thanks for taking time for C10 Talk.
All right, appreciate you guys talking to me. Thank you.
Late. Sunday fun day again, and this turned into an hour-long meeting checking out this Blazer because I'm having so much fun looking at it. But I got Mike Blaylock, and you are out of just Houston General, Conroe area?
Correct.
Welcome to C10 Talk and Sunday LST. It sounds like you've been to a few of these shows over the years.
Since day one, I've been with Lonnie and Radar.
Been a while. It's been a while. So you've been into the scene a long time. You've been throwing out some big names. You know a lot of these people in this scene, in this industry. Mitch, Bill from Extensive. So
you've seen this area and the popularity of these trucks, and then you're a GM Chevy guy. Correct. So you've got a lot of. He's just showing me some pictures on his phone. He's got a portfolio of trucks that he's had, exchanged hands. Well, we come across a little 79 GMC Jimmy, 2-wheel drive. How did you find this thing?
I was up in a swap meet in Canfield, Ohio, and a gentleman was up there just sitting in it, and I approached him and asked him what it would take to get it.
What did he say?
He said he shot me a number, and it was a little higher than I could come out of pocket with, and within a couple years he telephoned me and said he'd like to sell it to me and made me a deal.
Isn't that crazy? He kept it, or somehow was able to get back in touch with you, and like you said, he fell on some times where he needed some money, and you were there to snatch it up.
Well, he also appreciated my passion for the truck. So
what was your passion? Why are you passionate about this truck?
Well, having an uncle that worked on the GM assembly line from the 70s into the late 80s, the square bodies have just been a part of our life.
Yeah, and you've shown me a few of them. And the cool thing Mike was telling me was some of the things that you would bounce off your uncle and all the trucks you've had and some of the things he told you to look for and all the little secrets and maybe some secrets or some hidden gems.
Yes. For instance, rivets on the frame and the diameter of the holes not being true and the frame being off in whether it be long on one end or short on the other side, and then around the AB pillars where the lines of the fenders and the hoods they were always never straight. They were always crooked.
Ironically, we just interviewed Keith, Seymour, about in episode 166, and that's exactly what he said. Kind of funny. So this thing has exchanged hands a few times, and now you got her back.
Yes, sir. Over the course of the original purchase, I have unfortunately parted with it on 2 different occasions, and now I'm originally the 4th owner of 3. So
it keeps going around and around, but it always comes back to you. It's like the boomerang. So it's kind of funny. GMC Jimmy, 2-wheel drive. The cool thing about it, not only is it a 2-wheel drive High Sierra, it's also got a really cool package. Do they have a name for this package?
Yes, it was called a Sport Stripe kit, which GM offered at the dealer in the brochures, and it's just a left side, right side, 3-color stripe that they offered as a kit.
Yeah, and if you think about when I go back and I think about like the step side trucks or even the sport truck package, you see that hood with those color combos. For the audience, you're gonna have like a black with a red and an orange, which starts getting into my heart. And I get a little tingle because it's just one of those rarities where you put all those 70s colors together, and GM knew what they were doing, and GMC really took hold where they offered some of these really cool packages. And I can't even imagine going to the dealership and seeing one of these, and I would have just said, take my money, hold my beer.
Right, and the advantage then, and even holds true to now, is that it separates my truck from any of the other GMCs out there. And with this package, they're fewer and further between. So not only do I have a truck that was singled out with a particular kit back in the 70s, I've got it in the late 2000s, 2020s, and I'm different from everybody else.
Well, I think you're a little different than everybody else, Mike, just like I am. But the cool thing is you're preaching to the choir. Orange Slice, you're not going to see another one, and it's pretty crazy. So that is kind of a fun feeling, especially when you come to these shows, because we see and we hear, how many C10s, this and that, and how many different ways can you do it? Well, GM already did it for me, and now I'm rocking the shit out of it.
That's right, and there's only one other modern build that features this stripe, and I believe the name of it was Cannonball.
Yes, Cannonball. He did that truck, and kind of what he did is he took and had a stripe made, right? So that was kind of a good reference there. What about these race lines? I like this touch.
Yeah, so I'm a big intro fan and Raceline fan. I've liked their cuts, and it just kind of helps with the truck, sets it off, makes it a little different. But like I said, big intro and Raceline fan, can't go wrong.
Now, it looks like are those 20s up front?
Those are basically 22 20s.
Okay, 22 20. Well, I was actually thinking 18 and 20, so that makes sense. I didn't realize that rear one was a 22. So he's got them staggered, 20s in the front, 22 in the rear. It sits a little low, like in a good way. I dig the stance. What do people say about this thing when they come up and talk to you?
Well, they really love the stance, and their first impression is it's got to be bagged, and it's not. It's been carried down a little bit lower than most do, and there's some driving issues with it if you want to get on rough roads. But for the most part, if you're on a clean, smooth, straight stretch, it's just a straight line ride.
Now, do you have friends, family that you put in there? Having a little Jimmy, you can haul, 4 comfortably and 5 if you had to. Because believe me, I sat in the back seat of one of these pretty much my whole first 10 years of my life.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it or not. Just talking to the original owner and the owners that I've purchased it from, I don't think there's ever been anybody in the back seat. So, and my kids are grown, so they've got their own lives and they're doing their things.
Well, you're doing yours, and we're digging it. We dig your style. Now you got another truck here. You're definitely a Chevy GM guy, 80s, 70s, and 80s.
That's correct. That's what I grew up with in school. I'm the hard, long hair 80s music guy, and the square bodies are where it's at.
What when we think about your fleet, what do you got? How many trucks you got right now?
Right now, I've just got the 79 Jimmy and an 86 C10. Again, all original OG, bought from the original owner.
It's good. I like your style. Now, did we come up with a name of this thing?
Not yet. I'm taking options and listening to what everybody has to say.
Right now, I'm calling it the Boomerang, but it keeps coming back to you. But we'll have to think of something. I think Mike and I will be talking in the future. We appreciate your time. We love your Jimmy.
Thank you, and good to talk with you.
Thank you. Wrapping it up, LST 2020. It's going to be my last interview of the day, last interview of the show, and we're going to hit a home run here. So I've got Sean. He's going to be debuting this truck. Well, they're showing it here at LST. It's in Extensive's booth, but it's going to air Season 3, Episode 7. It's coming out this week. Sean, thanks for taking time for C10 Talk. How long have you had this truck, and what's the process been?
I've owned the truck for about 4 years, and the process has been hurry up and wait. It's a hurry up and wait game. So I picked this project up. It was somebody else's project. It was partly started, and I decided that I'd take it on and finish it my way, the way I wanted to. And, so Bill took it under his wing and decided to put his creativity and his touches on it, and that's how it came out today.
What do you think? I mean, it's one of those things where we see this flush-mounted glass. Everything's smooth. It's got a unibody going. So for the audience, think Blazer, where essentially the B pillar rolls right into the bed. They pretty much seamed everything. The gapping is just right. It's got a lot of class.
Yeah, I actually had a guy come up to me yesterday and ask me if this was a cut-down Blazer. So I kind of laughed, and I thought, man, that'd be a lot of work. But this was a lot of work itself just to get it where it is. So to see it in person in the sun with the metallic and the paint, and just see how it just rolls, it looks like it came off the factory line that way.
It's going to be beautiful too when you take a unibody or even a C10 that's just a truck, and you see that the way that they did the body lines, where the guys at Extensive, and they keep it flowing, where it's one of those things where it's going 60 miles an hour down the road, it's sitting at level 1 and it's just hugging the ground. Those are the types of things where you're like, damn, look at that thing. It's just majestic. The interior of this thing, I feel like they kind of kept that motif going, where they took like a Tri-5 interior and it's all rounded, it's all body worked, it's all really flows really well.
Yeah, the dash flows right into the door. If you look at how the door is open, it's all one piece. It flows around like a body line. It kind of matches the same body line on the truck that goes over the fenders and into the bumper that's welded into the body itself, one piece. So it's kind of got the same lines all the way around, inside and outside.
Were you a 67, 68 guy, or is just kind of how this truck was?
Well, it's actually, to be honest with you, on the title, it's a 71. And we put a 68 front end on it. So I wanted that slope front end, the slope. And then the painter, Zane, had a great idea. If you look at the front bumper, Zane put the same V in the bumper as the grill and the hood, which doesn't come that way stock. So just trying to keep the design all the way around. And in my opinion, the 68 front end and hood and grill, flows a lot smoother than what it's titled as, a 71.
Totally. People love to have that 67, 68 front end. And just to kind of give you a description, there's no like license plate opening in the middle of the front bumper. So you've got it very well body worked, very well smooth, and then it comes to a V in the front end, matches the grill, matches the hood, and then that firewall, they did a lot of beautiful metal work, some bead roll, and it really just pops. I'm sure people are loving it out here.
Yeah, it's got a pretty good response to just the overall smoothness. It's so smooth you don't realize what has been done to make it that smooth. I mean, look at the core support. Look at how the grill's welded to the. You have to take the whole front clip off to get to it. There's no fender to take off. There's no grill to take off. It's all one piece. So you don't realize it till you really look at where there's not a seam. So it's things that are overlooked, but it took a lot of work to get to that point. So
well, it's one of those things where even like your inner fenders, it looks like they've taken a lot out. They give you a lot of wheel room, but it's kind of a less is more look on this thing. It's going to be exciting when you see it on the show. You're going to get a great response. You've got a lot. You got HID headlights. You've got the steering wheel on this thing. He's a big guy, so I was telling him he's like 6'3", 6'4". I'm like, you gonna fit in this son of a bitch? He's like, no, we'll make it work. So when will you get to drive this thing?
Oh, that's $1 million question right now. I don't know. I haven't driven it yet, so it still has some little tweaks to do at the shop, and we've actually got a little some motor issues to work out. So hopefully the next few weeks we'll be driving down the street in it.
Good. What either is your favorite part once you've seen it, or what do you see in the audience here at LST? What are they really digging about this truck?
Just how simple and clean it is, because it's not extravagant, but when you look at it, and if you know paint and body and metal work, you can appreciate it.
For sure, they did a great job. Again, it's got the one-piece window kit. They kind of morphed it into a unibody. It's got this big old bed kit, and then when you come around the back, roll pan city, man. It's got the LED taillights. It's got a beautiful roll pan, and it just tucks real tight. The interior is killer. It's so minimalistic. It's got like a tri-5 gauge cluster, a couple AC vents. So you got to be pretty stoked to drive this thing around and kind of show it off, and just all the hard work and the years of waiting. It's got to be kind of anticipation, and it got to be fun.
Yeah, I'm hoping to really get it out for the season finale of the Texas Metal Show. We always have a big party every year, and we bring a lot of the vehicles, so I'm hoping that's when I can actually drive it, pull up in it, and see what it feels like to, pull up and get out of it, and see it from the distance, and everybody else see it at the same time.
Well, and have that experience, you know what I mean? It's like this has been a kind of a anticipation for years, and now you're kind of finally getting to that finale, finally getting to that finish line, and you and Bill and the whole team, and we're here now, and now you can smell it, taste it, and you're like, we're so close.
Exactly, so close. It's right there. I mean, we didn't actually even get this here till 4 o'clock yesterday on a record. So, and it was just anticipation, get it here. So it's all been anticipation. We're on the finish line, and we're just waiting to get there.
Cool. Sean, thanks so much for your time. It's going to air this week. Texas Metal, extensive. We appreciate your time.
All right, thank you much.